Hey folks, I'm Saeed, the Codogrammer, and on this channel we're going to look at all things Kotlin, and in the first video on this channel we're going to look at creating a Kotlin hello world. So let's get into it. Alright, so here we are in IntelliJ Ultimate, but you can use IntelliJ Community Edition, which should work absolutely fine. And what we're going to do is cover off some of the basics, but essentially creating a Kotlin hello world in the process just to get us started. So I've already got a Kotlin project here, but I'm going to create a new one from scratch just to show you. So the first thing we're going to do is go up here and say File, New Project. And in this window here, we're going to give it a name, Kotlin Demo, for example. And we're going to select the language as Kotlin. I've already got it selected here because that was the last one I selected. Just make sure that's Kotlin, and we'll say Gradle, and we'll say Gradle Kotlin. Yeah, we can add some sample code. We don't want to create a Kotlin multi-platform, so let's go ahead and create that. Okay, so as you can see, you already get a hello world kind of demo here, but we're going to delete that one. So let's go to the source code and go to main Kotlin, and we see that there's a main.kt here. We're going to create something else. In fact, we're going to delete that. Okay, and let's create a new Kotlin class. So we'll call that a class, and you'll notice that here there's no file extension, but up here you can see the .kt extension. Now, just to make the distinction clear, we're going to create a new Kotlin file, call that a file, and just select the file option there. Okay, now if you notice, this has the .kt extension, and this is what we call a file, and this is what we call a class. But you'll soon realize that on the file system, they've both got .kt extensions. They're the same from the file system perspective. So what makes it a class and what makes this a file? Well, if you look in here, you've got a class declaration of a class. And if you look here, you've got no declaration. So if we create a declaration here with the same name as the file, for example, you can see that you lose the .kt extension here, and it gives it the class symbol. And if we delete that, again, it goes back to being a file.kt. All right, so that's the first thing. So in that sense, they're kind of interchangeable. So now they're both classes. So if we go back to the class, if I now declare a function here called ABC, I now have a function as well as a class, and immediately turns into a .kt file. In other words, a Kotlin file rather than a Kotlin class. So in reality, the distinction is that if you have one class with the name matching the file name, then it's treated as a class. Otherwise, it's treated as a Kotlin file. So I hope that makes sense. Basically, there isn't really much of a distinction between the two, and it's not really important for this tutorial, but I just thought I'd mention that because I think that causes a bit of confusion for people who are trying Kotlin for the first time. By the way, don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay up to date with the latest Kotlin tutorials and information. For more general tech content, check out the main channel, which I will link to in the description below. All right, so coming back to what we wanted to do in this tutorial, which is to create a hello world. So let's create a main function, which is what we need to kick things off. And then here we will say println hello world. And we immediately get this green icon here to let us run this code. So let's run that. And there we go, we've got hello world. All right, so now in Java, just in case you have a Java background, you would normally put the main method in here. So let's just see what happens when we do that. We can say that, and we can add fun, and we don't really need this part, so remove that. And we comment that out. Now, as you can see, you don't get any kind of run option, and that's because the main method in Kotlin is not meant to live inside the class. It's meant to live outside the class. In Java, the main method is static, but here the equivalent is that you put it outside of the class declaration. So coming back to here, if we turn this into a file, so now you can see that you've got the .kt extension here, and let's see if we can add a main method here. Okay, and again, say print hello world, and we'll just put a 2 there, so you've got a distinction between a class and a file, and we can run that and see we've got hello world 2. So now we've run a hello world from a class, and we've run a hello world from a Kotlin file. So there you have it, folks. We touched on creating a Kotlin project in IntelliJ, which is super easy. We did it with Gradle. We created a file and a class and saw that there's subtle differences between the two, but there isn't really a huge difference. We then created a main method in both and noted that the main method sits outside the class declaration, whereas in Java it sits inside, but it's static. And that pretty much sums up this first tutorial. I hope that was useful. Drop me a comment in the comment section below if it was, or if you have any feedback. And don't forget to subscribe, of course. Thank you for watching.